Paddy Pimblett is the real deal. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fight Franchise and the recap and review of the co-main event of UFC 314, where Paddy Pimblett battered, exposed and beat down Micheal Chandler like nobody has so far in the UFC. It was a brilliant performance by Paddy. I thought Paddy was going to get exposed on the feet. I thought Micheal Chandler was going to clip him and KO him, but this was completely wrong by me. Paddy Pimblett, for so long, when I've looked at him, I'm like, I see holes in his game. I see the, genetically manufactured MMA career, UFC career, how they kind of go Hunter and Dana are like, you get this matchup, you get this matchup. And I just thought at this moment, this is going to be a jump up in competition. Micheal Chandler can still hang with the best of them. He just went 5 rounds with Charles Oliveira. He's got heavy hands. If he lands against Pimblett, who's got sus striking defense, I just thought he's going to go out. But Pimblett put on a clinic against Micheal Chandler. He battered him, This was a brilliant fight. They come out and, the one thing I'll say before this fight, Paddy Pimblett's confidence in himself and his outlook on life is fantastic. Paddy Pimblett is a bit of a realist, and he's very similar. That like when I look at some people's trash talk, like Khabib, DDP, their trash talk is very real. They're not like giving you fake trash talk where they're like, I'm gonna do XYZ and blah 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 and whatever. Like when like Sean Strickland, Marab and Bilal Muhammad came out and go, I'm gonna spinning wheel kick you and whatnot. Paddy Pimblett kind of, when he says his trash talk, he speaks facts. When he talks about Tony Ferguson, when Tony was talking trash to him, he was like, Tony, what's baseball going to do for you? I swear Tony bought our baseball glove or something like that. We're here to fight MMA. He goes, you're on a what's it called losing streak and I'm going to batter you as well. When he was talking to Micheal Chandler, he was saying, Michael's a good fighter, but he's lost to the best in the division. He's 4-2. I'm 6-0 in the UFC. And you look at Paddy's career and go, you are 6-0 against trash competition, and Michael's 4-2 against 2-4 in great competition. But he's saying, look, you're beatable in the UFC. I'm not. His trash talk comes from a very real place, which I feel like boosts his confidence. There was an altercation after the fight, and I might go into it later as well in the video, where he's talked to Colby Covington, and Colby Covington, man, you're crap, man. And he was trashing him after the ESPN interview. And Pimblett goes, you're a mushroom. You're 0-3 in your last 3 bouts. You're on a 3-fight losing streak. I'm on a 7-fight win streak. His trash talk is just speaking facts, which I feel like he's just speaking the truth, which gives him more confidence. It's like when he talks about Ilia Topuria, he doesn't like Ilia Topuria, and he goes, Ilia Topuria is a crap fighter. I'd beat Ilia Topuria and whatnot. I'll beat him. He's a mushroom. He's a small guy. But he does acknowledge the fact that Ilia is a very talented fighter and that he has KO'd Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. He just says, I'm bigger than him and I'm going to beat him. That's why I'll beat him. It's not like he's delusional and dismisses Ilia's traits and how good he is. He goes, Ilia's an amazing fighter. I'm bigger. He gives you a fact about himself, and that's why I'm going to smother him and batter him. And with Micheal Chandler, it was the same. He was like, Michael's lost. Michael's smaller than me. I'm going to piece him up on the feet. And I'll kind of go into the fight now, but that's a big thing that I love about Pimblett. I think his realist and his outlook on life and his blunt outlook of just being a realist against himself and others, it gives him much confidence. But they square off, and Chandler comes forward looking aggressive in the first round, trying to swing and look for that big punch, and he's just kind of attacking in a straight line where Pimblett is huge compared to Chandler. That's what shocked me, to be fair. I know Micheal Chandler, I did say, is a gorilla of a human, but Pimblett is a massive lightweight. He's probably the biggest in the top 10. He's huge. He's probably way bigger than Islam Makhachev. He looks huge. He's got a massive torso. And they square off where Pimblett's piecing him up, landing those low kicks at range, and Chandler's struggling to find the range. He's trying to look for those body shots and come up high, but he's struggling because Pimblett's very evasive. He does clip Pimblett at one point in the first round, but Pimblett eats it, and then they clinch, getting close, and Chandler's looking for takedowns and taking him down and whatnot, but Pimblett, while he's getting taken down, is looking for the Kimura, looking for submissions, and eventually he reverses the position and he ends up, beating on Micheal Chandler at the end of the first round, and he kind of overtakes the first round and wins the first round, where 25-7 significant strikes, even though Chandler landed 2 takedowns in that round, where he kind of batters on Micheal Chandler. Second round, more of the same. Chandler, he's being aggressive, he's pushing forward, but he's pushing forward in a straight line where, Pimblett's not got the biggest sting in his shots, but he's clipping Michael Chandler, where he's just keeping him at bay enough that it's not going to do any damage. And then eventually, Chandler goes for the takedowns again, but Pimblett again reverses the positions, kind of tees off on Michael Chandler. And there was one thing, to be fair, I'll give credit to Paddy Pimblett, and I'll speak on it as well later. Pimblett goes in the pros fight press conference. I know Michael Chandler has amazing submission defense. He's only ever been submitted once in his UFC career. Look at the caliber of opponents he's faced. Not even Charles Oliveira, who was on his back, who's the best submission artist in MMA history, could submit him. So my plan was never to submit him. I'd threat with the submissions, but we game planned to ground and pound him, which was excellent. When I was predicting this fight, I go, he's not going to submit him and Chandler will be able to reverse the positions and kind of batter him. But he got that body triangle, kept the squeeze on, and just patted at him with elbows and shots and punches, and just kind of softened up Michael Chandler to the point where he was like getting beat on and he was getting a bit exhausted. And it did look like, I will say this as well in the second round, they both look a bit tired at the start of the second round, where Paddy's breathing with his mouth open and Chandler's just like, he looked spent for energy. Like, I don't know if he was injured going into this fight or he just didn't train enough because he took it on like 8 to 10 weeks notice. But yeah, Chandler wasn't the best cardio-wise, and they come out for round 3, and this was Paddy at his best. And, Paddy said, I'm going to catch him with a knee going into the fight. I'm going to catch him with a huge shot and put him out. He didn't put him out, but Chandler kind of level changes, and Pimblett comes with a huge knee. Straight away opens up a cut under Chandler's eye, chasing Chandler across the octagon and smothering him and trying to batter him. And then he's got him up against the fence and he's trying to beat on him, and he's like, Chandler's kind of like got him tight, and Paddy's not having any success with the smothering him and smashing him up against the octagon. So he's clever. He goes, you know what? Picks him up and takes down Chandler. And then he's got Chandler controlled, and he is teeing off on Chandler. He's landing elbows, vicious ground and pound. And to be fair to Chandler, he's covering up and a lot of the shots aren't getting through the guard. And then eventually Pimblett switches to 12-6 and he comes through the guard and he starts smashing him, and Chandler's kind of rolling. He gets smothered to his stomach at one point and he's just getting beat on. Like, there's a photo, you'll see it, where he's up against the fence and Chandler's looking up and his eyes cut open, he's getting battered by Pimblett. Eventually, the ref's like, okay, this is a beatdown and I've seen enough, and he jumps in and he calls off the fight. And a spectacular TKO victory from Paddy Pimblett. This was his best win in the UFC so far. This was fantastic. And you know what? Credit to him. He's getting better. He's getting better in that octagon. And this is when I talk about him being a realist and his attitude in life. Originally, he said, I don't want to fight in the UFC. I want to long out my career in Cage Warriors so I can learn more. So he longed out his career in Cage Warriors. But eventually, when he got to the UFC, he was like, okay, I'm going to slowball my career. I'm going to work my way through the rankings, get my wins, get my experience up, rather than shoot up the rankings straight away and get to the top. He's now on a 7-fight win streak, and he's saying it. He goes, I want the guys in the top 5. He's skipping Dan Hooker and Max Holloway, who are around there, and he's going, I want Justin, Dustin, Charles, or Arman Tsarukyan, because I want one more win and I'm on a title shot. Because after Islam Makhachev, he's on the longest win streak in the division. Nobody's on a longer win streak. I think it's Paddy Pimblett on a 7-fight win streak. And then right after him, it's Dan Hooker's on a 3-fight win streak. But I don't think there's anybody else after that. So, Arman Tsarukyan as well. Sorry, Arman Tsarukyan's on a pretty great streak as well. So I think they should do Pimblett versus Tsarukyan for the number 1 contender bout. I think Ilya's going to fight Charles in the summer. The winner of Ilya and Charles fights Islam in October. And then in the end of the year, towards that same time, where Islam fights the winner of Ilya and Charles, Pimblett fights Tsarukyan, and the winner of that fight gets Islam or whoever the champion is at the start of next year, rather than Pimblett. I don't want to see Pimblett versus Gaethje. I don't want to see Pimblett versus Dustin. I just don't think they're useful matchups. I feel like Dustin could actually fraud. I think Dustin is that good at... I know he's old and he's getting on in his career, but I feel like he's that good. Dustin Poirier can beat him. And Dustin saying, I've got one more fight left in me. Him versus Pimblett, there is no use to it. Pimblett versus Arman Tsarukyan, that is the easiest way for him to get to a title shot. Arman's a very good fighter. Pimblett can have success. So can Arman. You know, Charles Oliveira had moments where he was submitting. He had Arman in a guillotine. I feel like Pimblett can have success on the ground versus Arman Tsarukyan. That's a very good matchup for Paddy Pimblett. I feel Justin Gaethje's a bit reckless again, but again, he could have the Micheal or Chandler effect where he pieces up on Justin Gaethje, who's been chinned a few times, who's been in wars, and he's a bit now worn down. That's the benefit to Pimblett. Pimblett's only 30. He's not really had many wars and miles on his clocks in recent years, whereas some of these other guys have been battered pillar to post, whereas Pimblett's the fresh up-and-coming spring chicken in this division, so he can have success. I feel like calling out Arman Tsarukyan is the best option, going, look, give me Arman Tsarukyan for the number one contender bout to fight for the belt next, and if he can beat Arman Tsarukyan, he is number one in the division. There's no disputing it. I know he wants Charles because he probably sees somewhere where he can beat Charles. And I know he wants Justin Gaethje because he feel like he can clip Justin Gaethje. That's why he wants those two. And I think also he can submit Justin Gaethje, which is why he really wants Justin Gaethje. He's going, give me Justin or what's it called? And I feel like they'll punish Arman and go, Arman, you've got to fight Micheal Gamrot and go fight backwards. Because, after you effed up UFC 311, when Heather at the PI said, you're fit to fight and you didn't fight, they're going to be pissed off with you and they're not going to reward you with a Paddy bout. Another thing Paddy's saying is like, you know, Conor bet against me, I'll batter him the mushroom. And also there was a scuffle with Colby Covington where Paddy kind of, you know, went at Colby Covington as well. I feel like going in my predictions going forward, I'm just going to bet against Paddy just because he always wins. I feel like if I bet against him, there's the safer option because I want him to actually get to the title picture because I feel like Paddy Pimblett fighting for a UFC title would be so iconic. It would be hilarious to watch. But yeah. He's a dark horse. I don't even know if he's a dark horse in this division, but he's got a lot of hype, a lot of talent. I feel like there is a few stats which are kind of fraud checking him where he's like, you know, his last three opponents, Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, collectively, they're on a 13-fight losing streak at the minute. Not the best. But he's beating who's in front of him, whether or not Hunter Campbell and Dana White are going, yeah, we'll give you the favourable matchups. Pimblett's doing his job. And you know what? He's getting better. That Bobby Green win was brilliant. He's battered Michael Chandler like no one else has. Okay, it was a 40-year-old Chandler, but he's doing his bit. As for Chandler, what's next for him? Moicano maybe? Beneil Dariush? I genuinely don't know. Fight maybe Patricio Pitbull comes up and he fights him because he's not getting that kind of bout. There's no point. After Pimblett's just schooled him, like, where's the entertainment in that? Like, I feel like he'll even say himself he's going to be embarrassed after this loss, and I feel like he doesn't know what's next. He ain't getting anyone in the top 6. He ain't fighting anyone in the best in the division. Maybe Colby Covington would be a fun matchup, go up to 170. I feel like give him whatever is on his contract left and give him some exciting 3-round bouts on pay-per-view main cards where he can open the main card of the pay-per-view. I think Chandler's done at the highest level at lightweight. I think his dream of becoming an undisputed champion is never going to happen. He will never be the best lightweight in the world. He had his chance against Charles Oliveira and he blew it. So unfortunate for him, but if I was him, maybe get that revenge against Pitbull or go up and fight Colby Covington maybe in an America versus America match. I have actually no clue what to do with him next. Maybe Gamrot. Maybe Moicano would be a fun bout. That would be a fun bout to open up a pay-per-view, but that Conor McGregor dream is dead, and he better hope that he got paid very handsomely for this because, yeah, you ain't getting McGregor anytime soon. I don't feel like he'd be hungry to fight a loser. But let us know what you thought of the fight in the comments down below. Do you think Paddy can become the undisputed world champion, or do you think still he's got a lot to do, a lot to work on, and a lot to get better with? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We hope you enjoyed the video and we'll catch you in the next one.